Hello everyone and welcome to my little corner of the internet. My name's Michael and I'm bitten by a radioactive book. Today I have a book haul for you. The books I've bought since the whole Christmas, birthday, December kind of event thing is over. And these are just the books that I've bought between Christmas and now. First off, we're starting with a little curiosity. It's Shadow Play, the second installment in Ted Williams' Shadow March series. I already own all 4 of the books and I've read the first one already a couple of years ago, and this year I really like to finish the series actually and read the remaining 3 books in the series, and I wanted to do this on audio. For the 3rd and 4th book I could get like a discount on Audible for the books I already have, and I wanted to do it for the 2nd as well, and then saw, oh, there are 2 Kindle versions of the 2nd book and I have the one that is not kind of linked to the Whisperthink for voice, and therefore for the reduced price for the audiobook. And so a quick math check showed that I need to pay $10 for the normal audiobook, and if I pick this one up for $4 and then for an additional 3 I could get the ebook and the audiobook, and so I did that. Next up we have a second part. It's the Daggers Path by Glenda Lark, the 2nd installment in her Forsaken Land series. I don't know much about it. The first book I think is about a dagger, and the dagger can manipulate its wielder to do things or stuff like that. I'm not quite sure, but that sounded intriguing, and now the 2nd book came out and I picked it up. Then I have 2 books that were cover buys for me. It's The Way into Magic and The Way into Darkness, the 2nd and 3rd installment in Harry Connolly's Book of the Great Way, or the Great Way series. These were released pretty quickly now. I've hauled the first one in December, the 2nd one came out in the midst of January, and the 3rd one came out at the start of February, so I got like a whole trilogy in a short amount of time. It seems to be a mix of classical fantasy, parallel worlds seem to play a role in it. That was intriguing. Maybe it had a bit of a grimdark flair as well. So yeah, I'm intrigued about this series and I will read it later during the year. Next up we have Half the World. It's the 2nd installment in Joe Abercrombie's Shattered Sea series. Here we are following Yavi, who has like a crippled hand, and he is the 2nd son of a kind of Viking king, and his father and his brother are killed, and now he is in the position that he is actually now the new king. And of course, as he is a cripple, that is kind of problematic in like a cruel world of fighting, bloodshed and raids. And so it will be very interesting to see how Yavi manages that. And I'm actually buddy reading the 2nd or the 1st book in the series right now, and the 2nd one comes out I think in physical form February 17th, and the ebook was already available at the or on the 3rd, and so I already got it. Next up we have Fool's Assassin, which is the 1st installment in Robin Hobb's Fitz and the Fool series. As you can glimpse from the title already, it's another trilogy, the 3rd actually now in her Fitz and Fool kind of sub-series. So she has like a series called The Realms of the Elderlings, and this always consists of trilogies and 1 quartet, and like every other trilogy, like the 1st, the 3rd and now the 5th, is actually about Fitz and the Fool. These are the two most prominent characters of the series, and yeah, I'm just in the beginning, so I'm just between the second and the third book of the first trilogy. But I really enjoy Robin Hobb's writing, and I think I own every book by her so far, and yeah, so I already got this new one as well, and I think the second one in that trilogy will come out in August. Another second book I've got is The Providence of Fire, which is the second installment in Brian Staveley's Chronicles of the Unhewn Throne. It is a series with an Asian kind of feel and setting. Asian mythology plays a role. In the first book, we followed mostly three siblings, and two of them, the two boys, were more prominent. One was trained to be a monk, the other was trained to be a fighter. On totally different parts of the country. The girl stayed at home, and when their father was killed, she was involved into the politics ruling the country, but her part was rather small in the book, and the main focus were the two boys. I'm not the biggest fan of coming-of-age stories, and yeah, these two had like very typical stories, very unoriginal in from my point of view. A lot of abuse from their teachers that I found unnecessary. Yeah. So overall, I'm a bit hesitant now about the series, but I had the feeling now that the boys have their training behind them. The author has them in places where he wanted to have them, and I hope that the second book really picks up from the first one. I also got Slavers of the Savage Catacombs by John F. Mertz. Again, it's the second installment in his Shadow Warrior saga. This also had this feeling of being a little bit Asian sword and sorcery, maybe a bit wuxia, I don't know, but it really looked like a very interesting kind of fantasy setting, and therefore I picked up the two books in the series. Next up we have The Autumn Republic by Brian McClellan. It's the third and concluding volume in his Powder Mage trilogy. I really enjoyed like the first book. It's a flintlock fantasy, so we have like modern weapons, or not modern, but at least muskets and gunpowder in a fantasy setting. The setting feels a lot like Napoleon, the Napoleonic era. It has a bit of an Eastern European feeling with many of the names related from there. And overall I really enjoyed the first book. The second book had a bit of a middle book syndrome for me. It was not as strong, but yeah, overall I hope this will have a satisfying conclusion and that we will see more of the mythology of the world and the gods, because that is like the most interesting part for me so far. Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to conclude this series this year. And last but not least, we have Age of Aztec, which is the fourth installment, I think, in John Lovegrove's Pantheon series. These are all standalone books, and the idea is always it is science fiction, so we are on Earth and we are in the future. It is a near future, but definitely a future, and the premise is always that one of the actual old pantheons, like the Egyptian, the Greek, or in this case the Aztecian, are actually like real and came into power, or always have been in power, and those gods are real, and somehow the people in the future are affected by them. Mostly they are a bit on the military side, with the people either fighting the gods or fighting the gods' wars on Earth for them. And I really like this blend of science fiction, military, and mythological elements. And yeah, I planned this series to read this year, and as I planned out the books, I found out that this one was actually the book I'm missing in the series. I thought I had them all, but I didn't have this one, and so yeah, I just bought it. So that's it for this book haul. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. If you want to see more of me, subscribe to my channel. If you want to know what's coming up on my channel, please look inside the description box. There's a little segment there called On the Horizon. I wish you a good day and hope you get bitten by a really good book too. Bye.